So where are you going to go to college?
I'm not sure yet. My friend Tyler got into Penn State, Maine.
Wow, I heard that's really expensive. How's he ever going to pay for that?
I know.
How's anyone pay for college these days?
If I don't go to college soon, I'm going to be stuck working at Joe's Pizza Parlor all my life.
That wouldn't be good.
We need to get money from somewhere. Like, where's all the money going to come from?
Maybe like financial aid, grants, loans, scholarships.
Oh my God. It's raining dollars from heaven.
It's raining money all over me.
We need to learn more about financial aid.
Education Today starts now.
Welcome to Education Today. I'm Adam Cove, West Shamokin High School from the Armstrong School District. Tonight we will learn all about financing higher education. During the fall and winter months, Armstrong School District guidance counselors schedule financial aid nights to give students and parents the information they need about financial aid. These financial aid nights feature experts and university officials who share the most up-to-date information and answer questions. Tonight we have a couple of these experts with us to share advice with you, the viewers of Education Today. Our guests are Jim Cardinelli, Pittsburgh Regional Director of the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency. We also have Patricia McCarthy, the Director of Financial Aid at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Welcome to Education Today.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Would you please introduce yourselves and give a brief background of your professional experience?
Sure. My name is Patricia McCarthy, and I'm Director of Financial Aid at IUP. I have been in financial aid for the past 20 years, and I enjoy my time being able to spend with students and families helping them to finance their educations.
My name is Jim Cardinelli. I'm FIA's Regional Director here in southwestern Pennsylvania. I started out in financial aid back in 1975. I've been with FIA since 1979 and just over 20 years in my current position as Regional Director.
How does a student apply for financial aid?
Sure. Any student who is attempting to receive any federal funding or funding through the State Grant Division would want to file the free application for federal student aid. That needs to be filed each year and can be filed at the federal government website, www.fafsa.ed.gov. And that enables a student to be considered for any state and federal grants, loans, and work programs.
Of course, the FAFSA is the state grant application. It's the application for federal aid. But if a student wants to apply for institutional financial aid, there may be another application required. Now, in some cases, it could be a very simple application, student's name, permanent address, telephone number. In other cases, it may be more complex, something similar to the FAFSA. In still other cases, it might be something that's called the CSS profile. The profile collects a lot of supplemental information that the FAFSA does not collect, supplemental financial information, and it's processed and produced by the College Scholarship Service. There is a fee associated with the profile, $25 for the initial application, $16 for supplemental or additional applications. So it's not a form that a student wants to complete unless they absolutely have to. They complete the profile online at collegeboard.com, so they can go online and do that at any time, again, assuming that the school requires it.
And cost is a good point, and students and families should always remember the free application for federal student aid is just that. It is a free application. And be cautious of a website that would say you can file your FAFSA here, but for a fee. The name is a free application, and it's supposed to be free.
All right. And what kind of financial aid is available for students?
Sure. By filing the FAFSA form, students are considered for state and federal grant programs. And grants, of course, are those types of financial aid resources that students want to be considered for in all cases, because that would be, for these students, free money that in most cases does not need repaid in any way, shape, or form.
Well, in addition to grants and scholarships, there's also loans and work study. There are several different loan programs that I think we're going to talk about a little bit later in the program. But work study, and incidentally, both work study and loans require an obligation on the student's part. Of course, if it's a loan, it has to be repaid. Work study actually requires the student to work 5, 10, 15, 20 hours a week during the school year to earn funds toward their educational expenses. And there's a couple of different types of work-study programs. There's a federal college work-study program, which is administered by the college, university, business, trade, or technical school, and FIA also has a state work-study program. Now, for the federal college work-study program, the student can apply for directly through the institution by completing the FAFSA. But if a student is interested in the state work-study program, they need to go online to pheaa.org, FIA.org, and apply directly. They can actually find out what institutions participate in the state grant program or the work-study program, and they can apply online.
And even aside from the financial help that the federal work-study program would provide to a student working on campus, students and parents really should remember that this is also giving a student, by working in the federal work-study program, some very good hands-on experience, some resume building, some reference building for future, because when in school, you're there to learn, and that doesn't just mean in the classroom. Federal work-study might provide a very, very good opportunity for students to get some practical knowledge while in school as well. And students need to remember, while in high school, they're very, very busy with activities and school days that go longer. When in college, those school days can be much, much shorter. And it's really good for students to become actively involved on campus, and federal work-study is just another example of a very good way for students to get involved.
That's a very good point. And listening to reports on the news, it seems it's harder and harder to secure loans. Is that still true with education?
You're right. You listen to the news and you're hearing that it's harder to get a mortgage loan and it's harder to get a loan to buy a car. One really good thing is that Congress is very well aware that students need to get educational loans in order to complete their educations. And of course, any administration that we've had in the national level is very concerned about the education of our young people in the country. So we are fortunate that there still are loan programs available to students. There are loan programs available to parents. And there are also some private loan programs that are available. With the federal loan programs, students can borrow in their own name without a credit check. Parents do, in some cases, need to go through creditworthiness in order to receive federal parent loans, and as well as the private loans that are available. They still have availability, but again, there is some creditworthiness that needs to be checked before students can perhaps receive these loans. And in some cases, these private loans, even though a student might be able to secure these by his or herself, it's really probably a better idea to consider using a cosigner so that maybe the interest rate would be even a little bit better.
I'd like to address specific loans if I could, and I think I'll begin with the Perkins loan, which is a federal program administered by the college, university, business, trade, or technical school. The student applies with the FAFSA by completing the FAFSA. The Perkins loan is a low interest rate loan, 5% simple interest. It's federally subsidized, which means the federal government pays the interest on the loan while the student's in school and during the 9-month grace period that follows the loan. So the student does not begin to repay the loan until 9 months after they graduate. A couple of other loan types out there. Number one would be Stafford loans. Student again applies by completing the FAFSA. There are two types of Stafford loans, subsidized, unsubsidized. Subsidized means that the student can demonstrate financial need, and the interest on the loan while the student's in school and during the 6-month grace period that follows the loan is paid by the federal government. Unsubsidized, on the other hand, the student is responsible for the interest on the loan during the in-school period as well as the 6-month grace period that follows the loan. And unsubsidized loans, the student is unable to demonstrate financial need. Two different interest rates on these loans. For unsubsidized loans, the interest rate is 6.8%. For subsidized loans, the interest rate is 6%. And again, student completes the FAFSA in order to apply. There's also another type of loan called direct loans. Stafford loans, when a student applies for a Stafford loan, they borrow through a bank, credit union, savings, and loan. But in the direct loan program, almost identical to the Stafford loan, the student borrows directly from the institution who gets their money directly from the federal government. Again, it's almost identical to the Stafford loan program, same interest rates apply. And again, the student applies by completing the FAFSA. And let me just say this, if a school participates in the direct loan program, there's no choice for the student. If the school's in the direct loan program, they're borrowing through the direct loan program. Otherwise, the school is going to participate in the Stafford loan program. The student can borrow from a bank, credit union, savings, and loan. The next program I'd like to mention is the PLUS loan program. PLUS is an acronym for Parental Loans for Undergraduate Students. This is where parents borrow on behalf of their dependent son or daughter. The parents have to be creditworthy in order to borrow this loan. It's a fixed interest rate loan, 8.5%. The parents borrow again through a bank, credit union, savings, and loan. If the program operates through the lender, if it's a direct loan school, then the parents borrow directly through the school for the direct loan program.
And a couple of common questions that come up within the financial aid office about the Stafford loan programs and the PLUS loan programs. Number one, with the Stafford program, and Jim did mention this, students do have to file the FAFSA in order to receive the Stafford loan. The question comes up often because many times the parents of the student maybe had a loan years and years ago where the FAFSA was not a requirement, but it is a requirement for the student to borrow the Stafford loan. The other important thing to note about the Stafford loan is that it is in the student's name. The parent is not a co-signer. Parents are sometimes concerned that that puts them into a requirement of being a co-signer. No, the Stafford loan is in the student's name. The only reason a parent's name is even on the application is simply in case the bank can't find the student at some point in the future if the student's not paying on the loan. It's not a co-signing situation. And the third thing is the parents sometimes are under the impression that if they borrow the PLUS loan while the student's in school on behalf of the student, that when the student graduates, that PLUS loan becomes the student's loan, and it does not. The PLUS loan is borrowed by the parent in the parent's name for that child's education, but it does remain the parent's loan until the loan is repaid. Parents can, when borrowing the PLUS loan, if they're interested, talk with their lender about deferring payments on that PLUS loan while the student's in school, but it does remain the parent's loan until it never converts to become a student loan.
All right. Can you tell us more about the grants that you were talking about? Is it can anybody get them, or are they based on need?
Sure. By filing the FAFSA, I mentioned that something that everybody's hoping they will be able to receive would be grants. And grants, for the most part, are considered need-based. The grants from the federal government, the main grant programs, is the federal Pell Grant, which is the largest grant program. But there's also a Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, or FSEOG grant, that students could also be considered to receive by filing the FAFSA. Those are need-based grants and are typically awarded to the needier students, financially needy. There are two other federal grants, however, that are relatively new. The first is the Academic Competitiveness Grant, and the second is the SMART Grant. While they do have a federal need component, they also have an academic requirement as well. The Academic Competitiveness Grant, a student has to have maintained a certain QPA in high school and have completed a course of study consistent with the requirements of the federal government. In other words, a certain number of science courses, a certain number of math courses, foreign language course. So that has to be reviewed by the school to determine, even if the student by financial need meets the requirement for the ACG grant, does the student meet the academic criteria? And then to continue receiving that grant for a second year, which it's only a 2-year grant, the student does have to academically be successful in school by a certain QPA. It's a 3.0 QPA. The SMART grant, on the other hand, which is designed for students in their 3rd and 4th years of school, are based on the student's major, certain science, math, language majors. If a student has a specific major, if the student has a 3.0 QPA, then that student can receive this other federal grant. So again, it's need-based in order to be even considered, but the secondary layer is that the student has to be academically successful and within a certain type of academic major. There is another grant program that just came into being within the past couple of years, and it's the Federal Teach Grant Program. And that is a program that not all schools are participating in this particular grant program, but it is a grant program designed for students who would want to teach. And it's a grant program while the student's in school, and then after graduation, if the student meets certain requirements of working in certain types of school districts, teaching certain curriculum, then that student's grant continues to be a grant. If the student, however, does not meet the requirements to continue having this be a grant, it does revert into an unsubsidized direct Stafford loan. Jim mentioned those earlier. So it's a grant program that's based on the student's intended field of study, but it can potentially revert into a loan program should the student not meet certain criteria. The other very large grant program that we're fortunate enough to have in Pennsylvania is the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Grant, or the FIA State Grant. I think Jim would want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Pennsylvania State Grant is also need-based, which means the student has to demonstrate financial need in order to be eligible to receive the state grant. This year, the maximum for students attending school here in Pennsylvania is $4,120. Again, that's students attending school here in Pennsylvania on a full-time basis. Students attending part-time are also eligible. They receive 1/2 of their full-time amount. For students who choose to attend school outside Pennsylvania, what we call a portable reciprocal state, the maximum for those individuals is $600 per year. Those portable reciprocal states, Connecticut, Delaware, Maine, Massachusetts, Ohio, Rhode Island, Vermont, District of Columbia, and West Virginia. Student chooses to attend school in a state that I didn't mention, the maximum state grant is $400 per year. And if the student attends school in New York, New Jersey, or Maryland, they are ineligible for state grant assistance. Now, there are a few exceptions in the state of New York, but for the most part, New York, New Jersey, or Maryland, the student is ineligible. And the state grant application is also the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid.
All right, thank you both very much. But we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with Armstrong School District's Education Today. We'll be talking more with Jim Cardinelli, Pittsburgh Regional Director of FIA, and Patricia McCarthy, the Director of Financial Aid at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Stick around.
Before I came to IUP, I had no idea what college would be like or what role I would play or where I'd be in the future. But when I came to IUP, everything changed. I met people who really made me feel like I belonged. I had great classes at a great nationally ranked university. Hi, my name is Megan Miller. I'm a fine arts major, and this is my university.
We're back with Armstrong School District's Education Today. We're talking with Jim Cardinelli, Pittsburgh Regional Director of FIA, and Patricia McCarthy, Director of Financial Aid at the Indiana University of Pennsylvania. So many people say there are millions of scholarship dollars that go unspent each year. How can we investigate scholarship funding?
Sure. It is very important that students investigate scholarship funding because, again, like grants, it's money that in most cases, students don't have to repay. We always encourage students strongly, talk with your guidance office at the school, your high school, talking with guidance counselors. Both Jim and I spend a lot of time talking with guidance counselors, and it's sometimes surprising to them even how many students don't go into the guidance office or don't apply for a certain scholarship because there may be an essay involved or something like that. It's very important that students take the time, take it seriously. It's the best maybe $500 or $1,000 that you'll ever get writing a 500-word essay. So it's important to do that first and foremost. Secondly, students should really start to talk with their civic organizations, their church, parent, employers. Many times will have, if not scholarships, maybe even matching funds with other scholarships the students may receive. So ask around, even if it's not a highly advertised group of people, if you were a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, for example. But also there are some larger national websites that students can certainly research. One of the bigger being fastweb.com, and it's a web-based, very, very simple to use, in my opinion, scholarship search on the web. And students will get into this website, indicate his or her own personal profile, major, academic history, maybe if a parent was in the military. There's a whole lot of information, and it matches the student's profile against literally millions of scholarships nationally. Those scholarships for which the student might be eligible to at least apply would then be given to the student, usually via email. This process is very simple, and it tries to make it simple for students in that in many cases these scholarship applications are online. So students can simply get to a website, apply for that scholarship. So students really should go to those kind of websites. There's a website also, and it's one of the largest websites for financial aid nationally, and it's actually published by a gentleman outside of Pittsburgh. It's finaid.org. FastWeb can be linked from finaid.org, but finaid.org does also have some other scholarship search engines on the website itself.
Both of those websites are excellent scholarship search sites, but I'd like to talk a minute about educationplanner.org if I could. Education Planner is FIA's college and career planning website. Phenomenal site, wealth of information there, of course, for students, for parents, for guidance counselors, teachers. Again, it's our college and career planning website. Basically, the students can do interest inventories, personality tests, match that interest and personality to hundreds of careers that are available on the website. They can then match that career to thousands of colleges, universities, business, trade, technical schools, hospital schools, and nursing. But the reason I want to talk about it here is because we have the largest scholarship database available anywhere in the country. nearly 1.7 million awards worth more than $8 billion. And again, similar to FastWeb, FinA.org, the student does a personal profile. It takes probably 15-20 minutes to do that. They hit the search button. It'll give them a list of all the scholarships within that database that they're eligible to apply for. Now, as Patty said, that's where the work begins, because generally scholarships are going to require an essay, and sometimes that's a little work for the student, but well worth it in terms of awards that can be received.
Right. And Jim, I have a question for you. What kinds of investments can parents get involved in for college savings?
Yes, a couple of investment opportunities that families have. Number one would be a Coverdale Educational Savings Account, where families can invest up to $2,000 per year per beneficiary. Distributions from that savings account are tax-free if the family uses those distributions to pay qualified educational expenses. The second type of investment would be a qualified tuition program, also known as a 529 plan. In a 529, the family has a couple of options that they can go with. Number one would be a guaranteed savings plan, where basically the family is purchasing future tuition credit at today's tuition costs. And to give you an example of how that would work, if a family had enough money today to purchase 4 years of tuition at IUP for a newborn child, essentially when that child goes to school 18 years from now, based on what they purchase today, their tuition would be paid for. So it is an excellent program in that regard. The other investment opportunity that the family has would be to put money in mutual funds. And of course, as that mutual fund grows, so does their benefit in purchasing tuition.
All right, we're now going to take a look at that video. This is a 5-minute FAFSA video created by FastWeb, which is a major online scholarship database. I think you, especially the high school students among us, will enjoy it.
I just concentrate. No, I don't even have to concentrate. Look, I'm looking over here. It's just by the beauty of how I play. So, well, maybe if I had cheat codes, I could win this too. I am not using cheat codes. I take offense to that. Right now, I've taken umbrage and I've put it in my pocket. Ooh, I got a pocket. Just cut over. There you go. What's up, Peter? What's up, Pete? Yeah, Herb. What's going on, man? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Sitting down. Were you in a fight with your parents or something? No. Did you wreck your car again? No. You're failing your finals? Probably. I told you I'd study with you. Did you find out Deborah cheated on you? What? Nothing. So what's up, dude?
It's the FAFSA. I can't figure it out. I don't know how to fill it out. I don't know why I should fill it out.
Whoa.
I don't know.
Take it easy. I'll take this one, John. Okay. So the FAFSA, short for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. It's your ticket to federal and state student aid.
And a good chunk of private and college funds and scholarships too.
Thanks, Stuart. Anyway, so the forms are available after January 1st. And you got to turn them in just as soon as possible. So the sooner you get your FAFSA in, the more aid you're likely to get. Even if you don't think you'll qualify for aid, it's just smart to complete your FAFSA. Oh, what's going on? The FAFSA doesn't have to leave you confused, Pete. I'll walk you through the steps right now. Alright, now before you fill it out, the process would be a whole lot easier if you gather all the information you need ahead of time.
Like what?
That's a good question. Like the school code for the schools you're applying to or that you attend. You get them on the homepage of the FAFSA website, which is www.fafsa.ed.gov. Next, you'll need your FAFSA PIN number. You got that?
No, where do I get that?
I got the answer for you. You can get it at www.pin.ed.gov.
Anything else I should have ready?
Indeed. You need your social security card and your driver's license.
Got them.
Last year's tax returns and W-2 forms. The records of any untaxed income like welfare benefits and veterans benefits, and your current assets information such as bank and brokerage statements and mortgage information. Wow. Does that sound about right, John? Am I missing anything? Why are you talking like this?
Maybe a FAFSA worksheet to practice on.
Thanks, Stuart.
Who's Stuart?
Now the FAFSA has 7 steps that ask about you. Your school plans, your financial information, and more. The first few dozen questions just ask personal information. just like your name and your social security number. Be sure to fill out your name exactly how it is on your social security card. That old social security card. Thanks, FDR, right?
Yeah, FDR, you got social security cards.
History books, go open them, they're available at your library. Cool. Alright. Another question, ask what kind of financial aid you're interested in.
What if I don't know?
Good question, Jimmy. Just answer 3 in that box there and you'll be considered for all available aid. Don't forget that you can always turn down particular types of aid at a later time. Also remember that saying that you're not interested in loans will not increase your grants. Isn't that great, Jimmy?
I'm Peter. I think you've lost it, Jason.
Other questions that you run into will ask about your financial information, okay? For this, the practice sheet you filled out is particularly handy, so let's grab that.
I did not have a chance to fill it out.
Fantastic. Even if a question doesn't apply to you, don't leave anything blank. Enter a 0. The questions near the middle of the FAFSA ask about your dependency status.
I don't know what I am.
I can tell. If you answer those questions, you'll find out. If you end up being independent, you can skip all those questions and move down to the next section. Isn't that easy, John?
It's so creepy. It's just like an infomercial.
You are. What? Before you start, you should check out how FAFSA defines a parent. And if your parents are divorced, you fill it out based on who you lived with for the past 12 months.
Hey, Jason, why don't you tell them about the benefits?
Stuart, you've got it again, old boy. The questions near the end of the FAFSA cover benefits such as the reduced price school lunch program. See that there? It's also good to know that students who currently get benefits might be eligible and qualify for increased aid.
Well, I don't know that.
Well, then you ask your parents, little guy. The last section of the FAFSA is the school codes. Enter the school codes of the colleges you're thinking of attending or currently attend. The government will share your FAFSA info with the colleges you select. Now use your FAFSA PIN to sign in your online form, check that all your info is correct, and voila, you're done.
Well, I guess that's not too hard.
No, it sure isn't. Just like taking out the trash isn't hard. Right, John?
I can't take this anymore.
See, Jimmy?
Peter.
Sure thing, Tom. Once you've submitted your FAFSA, the government will come up with your expected family contribution. Those results will be sent to you and your schools in the form of an SAR, Student Aid Report.
Oh.
Yeah. If you filled out your FAFSA on the web, you can expect to receive your SAR within 2 to 3 weeks. If you submitted a hard copy of that FAFSA, you can expect to receive your SAR within 4 to 6 weeks.
And then what happens?
Well, and then your college will send you a financial aid package based on the FAFSA results, including any federal student aid you qualify for.
So you mean they'll send me everything once it's complete?
That's it. That's FAFSA in a nutshell. Right, John?
Well, that's our show for today. I'd like to thank our guests, Jim Cardinelli, the Pittsburgh Regional Director of FIA, and Patricia McCarthy, the Director of Financial Aid at the Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Thank you for your time very much.
Thank you.
And our thanks go out to the students of the West Shamokin TV production class that are led by their teacher, Mr. Ren Steele. They were our film crew today. Please join us next week again for another look at the Armstrong School District. Visit our website for updated district information and have a great week.